I gotta run. This is Will Sanchez. My special guest today is Theurkauf. She runs for the Dashing Whippets. She is also an ambassador for a fabulous organization called Every Mother Counts. In fact, that was the thing that caught my attention. Earlier this year, Lauren did a very special event to honor that organization on her birthday. I'm thrilled to have Lauren as a guest.
Thanks, Will. Thanks for having me. This is really exciting.
You know, before we go over your 26th birthday this year, you did something very special. Before we do that, let's introduce you to our audience. Tell us where you were born and tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Sure. I was born just outside of Buffalo, New York, a little north, closer to Canada than Buffalo. I played soccer growing up, and in middle school and high school, that's when I started running cross country and really getting involved in running.
Excellent. Did you have any siblings to wrestle with?
Yes, I do. I have a brother and a sister. My brother goes to Fredonia, SUNY Fredonia, and my sister just graduated from St. Bonaventure University, same place I went.
Oh, okay. So it sounds like you're the oldest?
Yes, I am.
Oh, excellent. So you're the big sister they look up to?
Yes, I hope so.
All right. Now, did you go off to college?
Yes, I went to St. Bonaventure University. I actually ran Division I cross country there, helped me pay for the fancy school private education. I ran 3 years. On my senior year, I decided to call it quits. I really wanted to focus on my schoolwork, get my grades up, and spend a little more time in the science lab. I was a bio major, so a little bit of a nerd, but
Okay, bio, that's a hard science.
yes.
Okay, so the running was somehow interfering with your studies because...
Yeah, we had a lot of events, so we would travel a lot for different races all over the Northeast. We were a 10 school, and it was just too much, doing reading on the bus, getting headaches, and having to leave classes early and things like that. It was a little much.
Okay, so you made a decision,
Yeah.
your studies. I'm sure your parents were very pleased to hear about that if you had to make a choice, school. So once you graduated from school, you had to make a decision on your career. So what factors did you consider?
Yeah, so I actually went to a Master's of Nursing program at Lehman College here in the Bronx. And I got there, I thought I was going to be a nurse. I wanted to help people. I wanted to rid the world of disease. And I was kind of taken back by the gruesomeness of it all. It was a little much for me, and the hours, it wasn't a profession that I thought that I would be very good at once I started learning more about what it was. So I was already in New York at the time, but Liz from the Dashing Whippets, she's my mentor, and she had encouraged me to do something different.
Liz, there's a lot of Liz on the Dashing Whippets.
Yes, Mayello.
Oh, yes. Well, she's sat here.
Yep, she's a mentor of mine.
Okay.
One day I called her up and I said, Liz, can we go get coffee? I said, I'm in the school that I don't like. I've been there for a year, and what am I going to do? I was always going to get my Master's of Nursing. I was going to be in biology. That was my plan.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me what she does for Team Up and Autism Speaks. And she said, Lauren, I think you would really like to be involved in running and organizations, because I would still kind of get my life goal of helping people without having to be in a hospital.
Mm-hmm. Were you about 21, 22 at this time?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, you really are starting out.
Yes. And it was scary, though, because I left school and I immediately applied to work at Jackrabbit Sports on the Upper West Side. I learned all about shoes and running gear and things that I was really interested and passionate in. And while I was there, I cold emailed every single organization on the New York Roadrunners charity list. And the first one who got back to me was Every Mother Counts.
Excellent. What is Every Mother Counts?
Mothers are important and have such an important role on individuals' development and, who we become.
The idea of being in labor and having complications would be scary enough. The idea then of saying, okay, now you have to walk to seek medical care is staggering.
the work that Every Mother Counts is doing really hits home with us and our own personal experience.
A year ago, almost to the day, we were in the Canary Islands. I did that race, and it was really hard for me. A few days after we got home, we went for a couple training runs. I just didn't feel good. My ears started ringing and everything just started spinning. I kind of collapsed on the ground, going in and out of consciousness. So we get to the ER, this doctor comes in and he's like, "Do you realize that you're pregnant?" And we're like, "No." "Well, you're 7 weeks pregnant and it's ectopic and we have to terminate it. You've lost a half a liter to a liter of blood and we're gonna have to have surgery right now."
Here we are in, a modern city. We have access to a hospital and an ER, and, even then, Jenny almost died. And I mean, it's really scary to think that happens in remote places where women don't have access to a hospital or ER 1 mile away. And if they do, they're not getting in a car, they have to walk that distance. Running is a vehicle to bring people together.
Then this is where the battery is.
Whether it's, working towards a certain cause or just having a sense of community. It's a really powerful thing. You join together with everybody.
It's unbelievable. I know, now I'm doing it.
Even though we're on the other side of the world, you get to really be involved with the community and the culture here, and there's still that connection there.
Who likes to run?
Me, I like to run and I like to
Okay.
That's the beauty of the sport, and that's the beauty, I think, of what being human is really all about.
Yes.
I think you were telling me earlier that a very famous model founded this, Christy Turlington.
Yep. The organization was founded by Christy Turlington Burns. She had a personal experience with a health problem when she was having one of her children, and she started doing research and found that this really was a problem, and there was a lot of things they can do about it. The organization is just amazing because they make, it's such a small organization that makes such a big difference because they make educated and smart decisions about what they do for their grants.
Interesting. So I think most Americans probably had no idea that mothers were in such dire need that it was dangerous to have a baby. But this is more in the third world countries. I think the statistics in the United States, 2 women a year die from maternal death.
I think it's actually 2 women per day
Per
in the
day.
United States. Yep. They have grants all over the world and some in the United States. There's actually a woman named Jenny Joseph in Orlando, and she has a clinic where if you don't have health care and you don't have money, it's okay. You can go there and get help. And they write a grant for her every year.
Unfortunately, Obamacare hasn't reached everybody yet. We still have those moms that need help. Okay, so that's really what caught your attention because they were the first to respond, and you looked into it, and it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
And presumably in the back of your mind that one day you might be a mom.
Exactly. Well, one of the programs, I'll just explain it real quick, is one of the barriers to maternal health is transportation. The women can't either get to the clinic where they need help or they can't get someone to come in their home and help them. So what they do is they provide these vouchers for little ambulances, or they're like Vespas, motorcycles, where the women can get on and go there. And that just seemed like such a reasonable, easy, cost-effective thing to me, that this wasn't an organization that was just talking about issues. They were actually doing something meaningful to make a difference in people's lives.
Oh, that's great. I think there's a documentary that came out.
No Woman, No Cry.
No, I heard about it. Was Christy Darlington
Mm-hmm.
Burns. I guess he added Burns. He's married to the filmmaker Ed Burns. I love
Yep.
that actor.
Yes.
It was her debut documentary, and was about covering the personal stories of women from all over the world. And that, as you said, that was very little cost. It was just a little imagination, little creativity could make a huge difference.
Definitely.
Okay. It doesn't pay to be an ambassador, I don't think that much, You're doing this out of, the goodness of your heart. What do you do to pay the rent?
Yes. So Kristen Kirkland at EMC took me under her wing as her assistant of the running events. And then as working with them, I learned about this app, Charity Miles, and Every Mother Counts is actually on the app. And it's a hilarious story, but it was 5:30 in the morning. I was sitting in JFK Airport getting ready to go to the Disney Marathon. And I had a Every Mother Counts sweatshirt on. And this guy comes walking by me, and he had Hoka's on. And you see the Hoka's, and you just know, okay, that's a runner. And he had his suitcase, and he walks by. And he stops in front of me, and he said, Every Mother Counts? And I said, oh, I actually work with them. Yes, I know them. And he sits right down next to me. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Sitting down next to me in the middle of the morning. He said, I'm Jean from Charity Miles. And I said, oh my gosh, I've actually talked to you on the phone before. I know who you are. I know about your app. He opens up his bag. It's filled with T-shirts. Here, have a shirt. It's great to meet you. And that's how I met the founder of Charity Miles. And we eventually connected on LinkedIn. And I sent him just a cold message. And I said, hey, Gene, if you ever need help with anything, let me know. 2 days later, he messaged me back on LinkedIn and said, I'd love for you to come in and help build my community. And
wow.
That's how it started.
Cold calling, huh?
Yeah.
Most people have a fear of that, and you're, nothing to lose.
Exactly.
So you have a position then at Charity Miles as?
Yep. So then Jean brought me in. I'm now the marketing and social media manager at Charity Miles. I would like to refer to myself more as a community builder. I get to talk to all of the people who use our app online.
Excellent. And I would imagine most of the users are athletic-minded?
Well, we actually have a mix.
I walk.
I bike.
I run.
For a cure.
To fight hunger.
With my best friend.
I walk for education.
To empower young people.
I run for fresh air.
I run for the ladies.
I run, sometimes I hop.
So please, join the movement.
Join the movement.
Join the movement.
Because changing the world is a team sport.
We really want to be an app for anyone to move through life for a cause with. Walking your dog, going to the coffee shop. You don't have to be a marathoner to use the app, but it seems to resonate a lot with people who do marathons and especially running for a cause.
We encourage people to be on the move, whatever it is, dancing, and you're able to track using this smart app on, on a smart device.
Yep.
Able to track the miles or the steps or whatever it is, and how does it work? How does it get transmitted to the charity of their choice?
Yeah, so what we do is we're an app for Apple and Android devices. And it's free to download. You open it up. We have 37 charities you can choose from. You click on a charity, and if you click the indoor mode, it uses a pedometer on your phone. So as your phone is moving up or down, or if you switch your screen over, it tracks the amount that you're moving. You can also click the outdoor mode, which uses GPS. So if you're doing a marathon or you're outside doing something, it'll track using GPS. And then we have corporate sponsors who help donate money for the miles that you move.
Oh, excellent. So I just did my half marathon, and I was lucky enough to remember to turn on the app, outdoor mode, and I finished do I need to hit a submit button, or is it automatic? How does that work?
So you actually click finish, and then it says, are you sure you want to finish, just to ensure that we, got all your miles in. Then the miles will get sent to our server, and then it will actually say you can share to Twitter or Facebook. And you can say, I ran 13 miles for ASPCA, thanks to Humana, Johnson & Johnson, whoever the sponsor is, that day for your session. for sponsoring me, and you can tweet it out and tell your friends what you did for what cause.
So I see it constantly on my Facebook feeds. You know, I guess did something for Charity Miles, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. So I had an idea. Now you're a young person. We just mentioned you're 26, so you're part of a group that marketers coveted. And one of the most interesting things going on right now is the presidential primaries. And as everybody knows, Bernie Sanders, through his campaign, somehow has attracted a following among young people like never seen ever before. Even more popular among young people than President Obama was when he ran, at amazing statistics. When you and your friends look at this as a marketing perspective, what is it that, is there anything you take away from his campaign that says, wow, let's use whatever it is to help our cause to attract more followers?
I think part of it is being the underdog, kind of positioning yourself as, you know, we're looking for more people. We're always looking for more people. I think there's something to say about millennials that, you know, we almost feel like we graduated high school and college kind of in the recession. You know, we're all out there scrapping for jobs, cold calling, you know, organizations and people. And there's something to be said about, hey, he's the underdog, and people really relate to that. And I think part of what they're doing is, I think their campaign probably felt like they were the underdog as well. You know, Hillary Clinton, who doesn't know who she is? So I think they really had to do some crazy things. They do Snapchat ads, and they have a Tumblr and use Twitter conversations and Twitter chats. And I think that really resonates with millennials because that's where they are. That's where their eyes are.
Technology is where the millennials are because you guys are famous cutting the cord.
Yes.
In your life, have you cut the cord?
No.
No, you use a telephone? You still watch regular TV?
No, I have cable. I don't have a landline, so that's my one thing.
Okay. Well, it's good that you have cable because M&N is on cable.
Yes.
You can watch us.
Yes,
Oh,
definitely.
excellent. But let's talk about your marriage because that obviously was an important event. How did you meet your husband, and was there, when you planned your wedding, did funny things happen? You know, always stuff unexpectedly happens. And how did you handle it?
So I met my husband in college. He was a rugby player. I was on the cross country team. We had a mutual friend named Chris, he was a biology major, and
like yourself.
Exactly. So he introduced us. We started out as friends, and then we started dating, and then I moved to Stamford, Connecticut after we graduated. That the wedding planning went smoothly, but the proposal was actually very funny.
Oh, okay.
So in a good way. It was great. We were living in Stamford, Connecticut, and Tom said to me, my husband's name is Tom, and he said to me, hey, let's go to the city today. And we had just gotten for Christmas, it's a geocaching. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but it's like scavenger hunts, and people hide things different places, and it's a little GPS that you can go and see what someone's hidden, and you can write a note or leave a little token or trinket in different places. He said, let's go do that in Central Park. It will be really fun. And he goes, well, get dressed up a little bit because we might like go out to dinner or go to lunch or something. All right, so I'm getting dressed, and usually after about 20 minutes, he would say, hey, Lauren, like, let's get going, but he wasn't bothering me, and that probably should have been my first sign
Okay, you
that
got
something was
little
up.
flag popping there as you thought about it later.
Exactly, and so that's how this story goes, where there's little flags throughout the whole way. So then we got on Metro North, and I had taken a piece of gum or candy out of my purse, and it had a little wrapper, and I just went to stick it in his coat pocket next to me, and he puts his hand down in his pocket and he says, I don't like it when you put your hand in my pocket. I was like, okay, it's just this little piece of paper. The ring was in that pocket.
Oh.
I wasn't thinking about it, you know. And usually when we went into the city, we would just walk around, go check out some shops. We had to get in a cab and go to the specific spot in Central Park immediately. And I was like, what do you mean we have to go, you know? If I would have been adding these little things. So you get in the cab, and we get there, and there's a bunch of people around, people sitting on benches. It was pretty mild. It was January, but it was still pretty mild. And we get to the spot, and we have to leave immediately because there was a lot of people around.
Oh, too many people.
Exactly. So then we started walking a little further away, and it was kind of in the It kind of looked like the Ramble, a little more of a trail area, not so much on the main drag. And then all of a sudden it was happening. Tom got down on one knee, asked me to marry him. Of course I said yes. And then I was so excited that I think the people around me weren't sure if I was okay. Because I was screaming and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. They're like, is everything okay? And I'm like, yes, everything is great. But then we went out to dinner and it was great.
Really was no hunting of anything, but
No.
just...
Yes, we never used the little thing, geocacher.
Oh, that's a great story. And you didn't have hidden photographers or anything? This was just a private moment.
Yes. So we actually had a 2.5-year engagement. We didn't start planning our wedding until 6 months after we were engaged, and our church then had a 2-year waiting list. So
It must have been
waited.
a special church that you really got to wait.
Yes, it was. It's Tom's family's church. So.
In Connecticut?
Yes, Hartford.
Oh, excellent. Last year you decided, because you were turning 26, big milestone in everybody's life. And what did you decide, and how did you decide to celebrate the 26th?
So I actually decided to run a marathon, 26.2 miles, on my 26th birthday. And it was inspired by the race director of the Boston Marathon. And every year on his birthday, he runs the miles that it's his birthday. I heard it in a clip. And I said, wow, that is so cool. And my 26th birthday was in March. And I said, what a perfect time to do a marathon on your 26th birthday. And it took a little planning and logistics. And I decided to do 5 loops of Central Park without the hills, the Harlem Hills, and invite friends to come along with me.
But this was done as a fundraiser for, that's what made it special. You know, not only were you celebrating a healthy day, but you were also giving back to Every Mother Counts.
Yeah. Friends of mine joined me for miles, and people could sponsor miles by donating. And then we actually had a small get-together after at our apartment where we showed one of the small documentaries that EMC made. And it was really nice to just kind of get it out there that, you know, even if you aren't a mother, you have a mother, or you have a grandmother, an aunt, someone you love who is a mother, and that you can get involved in this organization.
Excellent. And I think you have special bibs. In fact, I have a bib here. I think this is mine because I donated to your cause. In fact, that's how, as I mentioned, that's how I noticed you. I said, this is very special. So are they numbered by the way the contributions came in?
Yeah, I got those made because I thought it would be, you know, a special mark, a momentum to celebrate it and make it feel, you know, more like a real race, even though we didn't have time trips.
All right. But did anybody get confused that, oh, how did I miss this race?
Oh, we had people tapping us on the shoulder like, what race are you in? What are you guys doing? And then, of course, I had my friends from other clubs that were running in the park and were like, oh, great job, Lauren. And my friends who weren't from New York, who came to run with me, a girl from New Jersey goes, you know everybody here? I'm like, well, you know, you get to know people. And
you were the mayor of Central Park. What was your day?
Yeah,
of course. Now, which one was harder to plan, the wedding or the 26th?
Definitely the wedding, but the 26th wasn't easy either. But doing the loops of Central Park made it easier, rather than having an out and back or something that started, you know, down at the Freedom Tower and then came up the west side and around the park. I thought of some different ideas, but I figured everyone knows the landmarks. In Central Park, they know, meet me, you're at the boat basin, you're at the 102nd Street Transverse. So that made it easier.
Was your mentor there, Liz?
Unfortunately, she couldn't make it that day.
I'm sure she's sad about that.
Her and Juan, they are always traveling, doing fun stuff.
I know, I've seen their photos. They're having a great time enjoying so they're probably inspiring you in your marriage. All right, we got to do some of these trips.
Yeah, I actually used to follow her blog before I met her. It's embarrassing, but I loved her blog, and I had seen all her engagement photos and her wedding photos, and I met her at a Whippets event, and I said, oh my gosh, I love your blog. And she went on, she's like, this is a person who reads my blog. And she was so excited. And I was like starstruck because she was famous to me. I read her blog every day.
Okay, so you were inspired to join because she was there and you want to get close to your idol?
Oh, definitely.
Oh my gosh, so you stalked her for a while?
Not exactly. I didn't know she was on the team officially. She had shown a bunch of races where she was wearing different shirts and stuff, so I wasn't sure. And she just showed up to this event once.
Okay.
And I said to my husband, Tom, I'm like, that's
Liz.
running in the city. Yeah, like that's definitely her.
Oh, she's going to be thrilled to hear all this. Oh, so you're now a bona fide full-time member of the Whippets. And what is it about the Whippets that keeps you there?
It's definitely the people. I mean, my friends Liza, Tatiana, the women mostly, to see people who are, they work full-time and they have pets and apartments to keep up, and they're just also amazing athletes. It's really inspiring to just be able to train next to them.
Great, and you have that wonderful photographer, Ben Cole.
Yes.
I think he's one of the plus because you can't wait to see what the photographs he comes
You
out
just
with.
wait for
Black
it.
and white and, and all sorts. And I think he covered part of your race, right? The celebration?
Yep. Yeah, he came to my birthday. He actually ran with me as well for a few miles.
Oh, cool. That is so cool. And so like him, he doesn't really promote himself. He just shows up.
Definitely, yeah. I didn't know who he was until he took the first picture of me, and someone had tagged me on Facebook, and I said, oh my gosh, this is like the most epic photo that has ever been taken of me running. And I ran Division I where there were, professional photographers at those events, and then I got introduced to him.
I love that story. Oh, I'm so glad. What are some of your future plans? And you're doing great with Charity Miles. How can charities and people find you guys?
Yeah, so we're really looking to grow the app, adding charities as much as we can. We want to make the biggest impact on the organizations that are on the app. So we're adding them very slowly. We don't want to write really small checks. We want to write big, meaningful ones. But, people can go to the App Store or Google Play. We have Android and iOS. Download the app and just start moving for a cause. It's really easy, and I think it's going to be a really exciting company to work for in the future.
All right. And then any goals in terms of racing?
I'm actually doing the 9/11 Memorial Run on Sunday, and I won it 2 years ago.
In your age group or overall?
Overall.
Oh, wow. Wearing a whippet?
Yes, I was wearing a whippet. I don't know if I'll win again. I don't want to jinx myself, but I'm just going to go out there and give the best effort that I can.
9/11 Memorial. Good luck on that.
Thank you.
Well, listen, thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure.